Welcome to Tete, a place for hope, truth, and healing. And today I have a very special guest. And as always, we're here to raise awareness about CSA. And I just feel like that's something that people are not talking about enough. And I am just always so happy and elated to find somebody else out there who's just dedicated so much time out of their busy life to just raise awareness and just let people know that this CSA stuff is way more prevalent than we realize. And so today, without further ado, I have Fiorella. Thank you
Fiorela,
for,
yeah.
there you go. Sorry about that.
No,
Thank you
you're
for
good.
coming on the channel to talk with me and share your story. And again, it's always the same goal. It hasn't changed. Will never change. Whenever I have somebody on the podcast and how I've shared my story as well. I'm writing my book on that, and it's all about raising awareness. So bringing people who've been through it, who have something to say about it. It's simply to just raise awareness. And if you're watching this right now, you don't need to have known somebody who've been through it. Stats truly indicates that, most likely somebody who have been through it. They just don't like to talk about it. It's not an easy thing to talk about, that kind of stuff. So please like, subscribe, and lastly, share it because you never know who you're going to change, whose life you're going to change with a podcast like that, a conversation like that. So again, I've done enough talking. Fiorella, please, if you would like to share who you are and
Mhm.
a little bit about yourself, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me. I'm super happy to be on the podcast and bring awareness to a subject that really people don't want to talk about it. And it's very important we actually talk about this because it's more common and silence just perpetuates the abuse. So I think it's time we normalize the conversation. So, like, again, thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. It's
My
my
name is
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Well, my name is Fiorella. I'm from Costa Rica, but I've lived in the US for over 10 years now. And now I've made my family here. I have a daughter and I got married and now I just loving here in the US.
Mhm.
I'm very happy to be here. And I don't know what else I can tell you.
Sure. No, we're gonna just dive right into it. But like I said, I wanted the audience to know a
Yeah,
little bit
to know
about who
how.
you are. I know you have a daughter, which is fantastic, and we can talk about that down the line. How people who are victims of
Absolutely.
CSA, it's not easy to just go on and then form your own family or move on with life without crazy stuff just damaging things. And as I just use the word victim, obviously we all know what being a victim is.
Mhm.
It could be a victim of anything. Somebody stole your money. You're a victim of this robbery or whatever. But I love also making that little uh, detachment, I guess. Victim, everybody can be a victim, but living in victimhood mentality, I know for me personally, that's something that's helped me to overcome my abuse. So
Absolutely.
with
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. So I like to say that because I think that's very powerful because people don't realize sometimes just because you've been through it, just because it's part of your past,
Mhm.
doesn't mean that it's your identity. It doesn't mean that it has to continue to be who you are. It doesn't mean it has to be how you choose to live your life forward. You got
I
to
agree.
realize that something bad
100%.
happened. How do I move on? Take the time that you need to heal and learn from it. But the goal is to move on. So,
I agree 100%. And it's something that is hard to break, especially if
mhm,
you live with that mentality your
mhm,
whole life.
yeah.
It's something you have to switch to be able to overcome it as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jumping right into it. My first question is what was the turning point for you when you realized that you had experienced CSA?
Oh my goodness. So for me, it was a little bit more complicated because I didn't realize the extent of what I went through
Yeah.
until last year. It was last year that it hit me. And I don't think that I would have realized it if I didn't have my daughter. Like I feel like that brought up a lot of emotions. It was slowly coming back to me until I realized, my goodness, I went through all of this and I had no idea whatsoever. And from that, it was really hard to realize that I'm not this person that I created in my mind, or more like my mind created, so I could have like a normal life. So I feel like integrating like who I was and who I am now, it's been like the hardest because it's
Yeah.
when you realize I did not have a happy childhood whatsoever. Like, this is not the past that I thought I had. So, yeah, that's pretty much.
Wow. So with those realizations, you said how long ago was that?
That was it. It was almost a year that I realized that I went through it. And
A year
it's
ago.
crazy. A year ago, yes.
Oh
And a lot
wow.
of people don't realize that their mind blocks all of the trauma so they can have like a normal life.
Hmm.
And you might never remember it. It just depends.
Yeah, the crazy part is again, it's the remembering part. Sometimes you do remember it, but it's something that you're so ashamed of. It's something that you're so confused about. You don't know how to compartmentalize it. And the easiest way to live with it is just to try to a forget about it or just pretend that it never happened. So, which
Mm-hmm.
is very sad because a lot of times people who have pretended that it didn't happen, they tend to fall in the same trap. So over and over again. So
That's
wow,
so
so
true.
a year ago, yeah, awesome. So I'm very glad that again you there where you are now, and you are speaking on TikTok and you raising awareness. It takes a lot. I know for me, for example, and we're gonna talk about the aspects between the male and female point of view as far as like victimhood, like when a female or male go through it. So it's just a little bit different. But for me, for the longest time, again, I didn't realize what had happened. My wife had to actually point it out to me. And it was a revelation type of moment because, again, I was living with it. It had happened as I grew up. I knew it was, to say the very least, was kind of strange. And a lot of people around me didn't live that way. And I started realizing that, this is just different. Why would is, but I never actually pinpoint exactly what it was until I met my wife and all that. So very, very thankful for her. So
Really.
what emotions come up right now when you reflect to what had happened?
Like right now, I don't know. It's just, it depends of the day. Sometimes, because every day is different, some days are easier, some days are harder. I feel like it's a process. Like healing is not this linear thing. It's definitely more complicated than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like some days I understand what happened to me and I make peace with it, that it was not my fault. And that's the whole like reason of my TikTok, like to bring awareness that this happens more often. And I feel like I find a lot of empowerment there
Mm-hmm.
because I never talked about this ever. And I feel like using my voice and talking about it, it's been really healing for me. But sometimes I feel a lot of rage. I'm gonna be honest. Not so much about what happened to me. Like I make peace with that. It's just rage that someone can do this so many times to so many little girls, and people are just quiet about it and they just don't want to accept reality. So I feel like maybe that also empowers me to talk, because silence only protects the abusers. So just finding that power in, yeah, like bringing awareness, I think that's been really helpful. And even the rage as well sometimes, that makes me think I don't want to live in a society where children are abused. Like I just don't, I can't make peace with that, having a daughter just thinking that
Mm-hmm.
we are just supposed to be quiet. But besides that, I feel like, I don't know, therapy has helped me a lot to understand that it's not my fault, don't have to feel shame about it whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's more normal than people want to accept.
Right. You know what's crazy? As you're speaking about how normal it is, again, anybody can just go online right now, read some stats, and you'll see. Within where I live right now, I know people who have been through it. So you don't have to go far. You don't have to look far to find somebody who has been SA'd or CSA'd, or like it's the thing is, it's like one of those, I like to describe it as a cancer, right? So a lot of times people have cancer, you don't realize, you don't know you have cancer until the symptoms start to come out. And then you go to the doctor, right? And then they inform you, hey, you're at stage 1, 2, 3. Then that's when you realize that you have it. And so
Absolutely.
people who have been SA'd or CSA'd, it's the same thing. They like, but the difference is like if you knew that you had cancer, you would want to do something about it. If you had the slightest inclination, you would want to go see the doctor so that you can get ahead of it. But the problem, I think, with people who have been in that boat, victims of CSA or SA, it's the shame. The shame just keeps them so enslaved. Like you want to stay in that closet, you never want to come out because if, yeah, if you come out, I mean, you think about your family a name that you don't want to drag in the mud if especially if it's from somebody within your family group. And I think it's 75-80% of all S8 or CS8 is somebody that the family trusted, so somebody within your circle that took advantage of that trust, right? So you don't want to talk about it, you don't want people to not believe you, you don't want to have
No,
that stigma, you don't want people to look at you differently. And
yeah.
I re
Even
I
friends,
go ahead, go ahead.
even yeah, like I feel like even if you come out and you tell that to your friends, there's so much stigma around it. Like you don't know if they're gonna start looking at you differently, or they're gonna like not want to be your friends anymore.
Yeah.
And I've come to peace to that too. Like if someone is gonna look at me differently because I'm talking about this, and they're
Mhm.
gonna judge me because I went through this, they're really
Yes.
your friend.
No.
Same with the family. And this is so common because, like you said, it's always someone from the trust circle. So come to terms that maybe this person, it's not a bad person, like
Mhm.
trying to come up with terms like this is not the image that they show in public, because that's what we have to understand, that these are not these monsters like how they're pictured, like super weird, kind of people. They're just the regular neighborhood, like neighbor. That's exactly what they look like. And
Yeah.
to come to terms that, oh, it could be someone very respectable from the
Yeah.
family or from the community, and they're doing these, people
Mhm.
are going to question when you bring up these
Right.
kind of accusations.
Right. And all of that again to revisit that the same point again, it leads to only one thing. It leads to you suffer in private and never come out, and the cycle continues.
So
And we're talking about like you and I were both parents. So if can you imagine the people who have never been able to figure out whether this is something that was wrong that happened to them or how to deal with it or the healing necessary? Now this like they don't know how to deal with their kids. People around them are going to do the same thing, most likely the same thing that happened to them. They still don't know
absolutely.
how to deal with it. So hurt people, the cycle continues. And again, this is why we here, you and I, we're talking about it. We are we have decided, at least I'm speaking for myself, and I'm sure it's the same for you, not let the shame of just coming out publicly talking about what had happened to us hold us back when we know the changes that could come out of that. The awareness will help people because we're trying to break the cycle. So
I
I,
agree.
I love what you're doing on TikTok too. So I'll
Thank you.
definitely link your link to your TikTok and everything else so that
Thank
people can go
you.
check you out because
I
the work
appreciate
that you're
it.
doing is great. I just admire people who choose to step out of their comfort zone for something much greater than them. So
The
yeah.
way that I see it is, in my case, I never said a word. I never told my mom, I never told a friend, I never told no one. I live with that shame and fear in silence. So for me, I'm trying to create the content that maybe me as a teenager would have liked to see.
Yeah.
If another girl sees my content, or grown woman, if they feel more like connected to me since I'm a woman,
Hmm.
I want them to know that this is nothing. You don't have to feel shame or fear whatsoever. They don't have to go and tell the world. But if you tell just one person, if you seek therapy, I feel like that just for me will be enough.
So I agree with all that. What's the best way do you think we can tell people? I mean, we're already raising awareness by just having a platform and just talking about it. But what is the most effective way do you think somebody who's struggling, somebody who does not have the courage that you have to come out? It doesn't have to be publicly, just having a TikTok or a YouTube channel talking about this. Just within their community, within their circle, within their family, within their friends group. What's the best way do you think to tell somebody to, hey, listen, it's okay. You can come out and let people know what you've been through and get the support that you need to heal and move forward.
I feel like you have to be in a mental space first where you feel safe and in an environment where you feel safe, because I understand many survivors are not safe enough to speak up, because they can be in dangerous situations. There's all kinds of situations. So, first of all, you have to be safe enough.
Yeah.
I feel like find know that there's not going to be repercussions of any kind, because some survivors they talk and
Hmm.
it can be worse depending on who they tell.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure it's someone you completely trust, which I hope they have, because some people don't have. But if even you just find like a community online,
Hmm.
I feel like that can be so much helpful. You don't even have to come up with your name. Like even you can be anonymous and seek out help. There's so many tools now, thank goodness, that they can reach out. It doesn't have to be like to tell the world. I just feel like just speaking out to someone, it can
Yeah.
make such a huge difference in your healing. So I feel that could help. But I also think, because my situation is a little bit different, this was my great aunt's husband. And I also feel like because it was so silenced for so long,
Hmm.
he got away with doing it to so many little girls. And we have 20 confirmed. And
Wow.
we were trying to make up the numbers. And we think like this number can be well over 50. So I know it's so sad, but it's also shocking that someone can get away with this. So I feel like also, if you're in a safe situation and you can warn parents to not bring your kids around this person, because hey, I went through this, that could save so many lives as well, because this is what they do. They're predators. And if they've
Yep.
never been in trouble or in any kind of way, they're going to keep doing it.
Hmm. Wow. 50. 50
Yeah.
different people,
50
50
different people.
different kids, not 50 different times. That's
Yeah.
that's
50 different kids.
crazy. Wow. That's crazy. And again, that predator was someone within your family, correct?
Mm-hmm. And
Wow.
he had, this is what I want to bring awareness as well.
Sure.
He's very respectable in the family. Everyone would have said like, "Oh, what a great husband, what a great dad," and because this was silence, so
Yeah.
people really
Yeah.
don't know true colors. And these kind of people, that this is how they present themselves. They have this like polished image. You would never think that.
No.
So I think like it's very important that you, as parents, don't trust just anyone around your kid. You have to be very selective and just second guess everyone, because not everyone has good intentions.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And again, that's what the stats do show that it's somebody within your circle. And most likely it's a family member, which is sickening because again, as kids, the people that we're supposed to trust. And for me, it wasn't so it was an uncle constantly just initiating with somebody else and I had to be involved. And it was again, I talked about my story a little bit on a different video that I did, and a lot more of it will be in the book that I'm writing right now. But it's just sickening because, like, when you think about your parents, whether they are a little bit laid back or too trusting, too gullible, thinking that everybody around us is somebody who cares, and those things are happening in the background. And again, it's just because here's another point. As a parent, I'm sure you'll get that because of all that kind of stuff lingering around those predators. I think it's more important now than ever to have the best relationship with your kids. Why
I
do I
agree.
say that? Because then your kid will feel comfortable to come to you if something like this happening as opposed to suffering in silence. What do you think?
Absolutely, I agree. That's like one of the key points. I was listening to another podcast that going through the trauma,
Hmm.
that's not as bad as how the reaction is going to be, like after you come out, like if you don't feel safe enough to tell someone, like that's the trauma that causes the most impact. Because if you go through it but you receive the help that you need, professional help, you have people there supporting you to go through it, it might not as be as bad when you're an adult.
Hmm.
because you had all the support. That's another thing that I want to tell parents. You need to like be on top of the symptoms because there's so many things that people don't know and are related to going through CSA. Like for me, like I had every single symptom and my mom missed him. And I'm not blaming her. Obviously, she did the best that she could with the cards that she was dealt with. But because she went through the same as well and by the same men too. So it's, yeah, it's something that went through
Crazy.
so many generations. So that's when I said, I'm going to speak out. This is not going to be a secret in my family anymore. And
Hmm.
I've had some backlash from that too, from some family members.
Hmm.
But I want to set an example for my daughter as well.
Wow, it's crazy. As you speaking, and it's I keep referring to the stats and everything that I've read, and I've read a lot about CSA and victims of CSA. I often post on TikTok and kind of asking questions about that. And like a lot of times you hear about or you read about generational curse in that aspect because like that uncle that you're talking about, that's his MO. That's he's been doing that for a long time.
So
And
long.
those people, they never ever stop until
Mm-mm.
somebody like the law has to step in. And it doesn't have to be the law, but somebody has to step in. A
Yeah,
parent
I
has to
agree.
step in. Somebody has to do something because for them, I'm not gonna try to diagnose what's going on in their head. I mean, I think we can say that those people were sick to feel like you can do something like that to an innocent
Really.
person, taking advantage, being predatory. But they won't stop because in their head, I'm assuming they don't see it the way that we see it. They don't see the devastation, how they're ruining kids' lives. And so it's crazy, like generational. And then that's again, the longer you stay not talking about it, the longer you stay not shedding light or just putting it in the forefront so that people can know about it. And like I said, it's a lot more prevalent than people think it is.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee it, everybody knows somebody who's been essayed. Everybody. Like
Hmm.
I would be willing to bet money on that
I
because
agree
people don't talk about it.
100%. I think it's pretty much runs in every single family. People just don't want to realize it or they might not remember it at all.
You know how they say you always have that uncle, and sometimes they refer to like, the uncle that's the creepy uncle or like the uncle that would just always be up to no good. Well,
Yes, or
in
be too
that aspect,
touchy or
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
exactly. And I've seen it in every family.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
that
so,
uncle
so
or
normal.
that auntie, because it's not just a male thing, or but it might be more male than female, but like the predatory nature, like for me, it was a female, was somebody who was much older than me.
Yeah,
My
and
uncle
there's more
was the
stigma
initiator.
around that.
What's that?
There's more stigma around that if it's a woman. And even if there's like how you said, like there's so much stigma around male survivors as well.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's so harmful too. So I think what you're doing is amazing, bringing some light on that because I feel like males don't talk enough about it.
Well, that's what I was saying. I alluded to that at the beginning. That's the difference. Again, at the end of the day, it's just victims of CSA or SA. It's the same thing. It's a trauma, unlike any other, that's just gonna follow you for the rest of your life until you cut that, that life vein or whatever, the lifeline to get healing from it. But the thing is, again, you just mentioned it. I started talking about this not because I don't care about the fame. Matter of fact, that's the last thing I would want to be famous for,
Yeah.
right? And I'm sure the same thing goes to you. You would rather have not been through it and just talk about something completely different.
No, I could be dancing on TikTok or do something else, but
Yeah,
it's just,
exactly. Exactly. So
I don't
that's
feel it.
where we are. For me, I'm a believer in Christ. So I believe everything happens for a reason, even when I don't like it or don't understand why. But the power that I have is to talk about it. I can talk about it and the rest is up to God, the rest is up to you, the listeners, the viewers. But guys in particular,
Yes.
so and I'm putting myself into that equation, we don't like to talk about our feelings. And when you do, again, I'm not gonna speak for you or from a female standpoint or a woman standpoint, but it's a little bit easier for women to talk about their feelings with their girlfriends and stuff like that. So for me, it was extremely hard because,
Oh,
well,
I bet.
I couldn't talk to my guy friends because my
Yeah.
circle was like, wow, dude, that's what's happening. That's cool. That's really cool. I was very confused about it. I didn't understand why it was happening. The people that I would talk with, they would affirm it. They would just kind of prop me up, put me on a pedestal because they wanted to be living that life. And I didn't have that kind of relationship with my parents to talk about that kind of stuff. And it took me a very long time. And before I realized it, it became part of me, who I was, and I embraced it. And whenever it came time to actually detach myself from it, talk about it, and realizing exactly what it was, again, with the help of my wife, it was almost like an addiction. It wasn't just easy, oh, that's what happened. Okay, this
Yeah.
is no longer a part of my life. It went on for so long that it became who you are, right? So
Mhm.
that's why I asked you the question about what's the easiest way you think we could tell people out there, the survivors, the abused, the victims, the next step to take to get out of there. It's not easy.
No, it's
I
not.
did a little market research on TikTok, and I was asking people a simple question about like how they're dealing with having been through CSA or SA and stuff like that. I mean, you should see some of the answers. There were people who were saying like every night I just go in the closet and then chain myself in there. Some people were saying like I do a lot of drugs. Some people say I just scream in my car. Some people say I cry every night. Some people say like I want to end that person's life. I know where they live. I'm just waiting for my time. I mean, the
It's hard.
hurt, the hurt that is going on right now is really disheartening because again, people don't have an avenue. At least they don't feel like they can for everything that we just talked about because they don't feel comfortable. They don't have that one person to go talk to. They don't have that community. They don't have that kind of family. Like, and it's just they just keep suffering until
It is.
one day.
It is so sad. I agree 100%. It's something, first of all, to come to like make peace with it, that you went through this and you had mostly don't have any support, but
Yeah.
also coming to terms and accepting that and that people might see you differently.
Yeah.
That part is really hard as well. I had those thoughts too, that how would it, look to my family members and my friends if I start talking about this, how they might see me differently, because I feel like survivors are so judged as
Yeah.
well, when we shouldn't be facing any judgment whatsoever. And then I thought the only way is just to speak on social media, make it like pretty normal to talk about it, so we can get to a point in society where talking about it is the norm. Like predators cannot get away with it anymore because survivors are just speaking out so much. They don't keep it, like if it happens, people tell immediately, because they know the symptoms, they know that is wrong, children are informed. And also the way that, like, we need to raise children that are like, they know that they have autonomy over their bodies. That's another thing. Because I feel like the way that you raise children and the older generations, when like this whole thing, if you cry, I'll give you something to cry about, like those little things, that can make a big difference if a child is going to speak out or not, you know? I feel like it's all connected. So just bringing some awareness to it, I think it can change the way that survivors eventually speak, and they feel more comfortable to like speak out in
Yeah.
public.
Now, I was originally born in Haiti, so everything that I've experienced happened in Haiti. And you're from Puerto Rico.
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, I'm sorry. And you've been here for 10 years, correct? Okay. So, what is the biggest difference do you see as opposed to life in Costa Rica and America as it pertains to CSA and SA
Okay,
victims?
this is a great question because it's big. It's big, big difference. So this is really normal in Costa Rica, and the law does absolutely nothing. And I mean, we're talking about a third world country where CSA might be not the top priority of things, which is sad, but it's way more normal.
Yeah.
It happened in Costa Rica, so I pressed charges a year ago. Nothing has happened. Absolutely nothing has happened. And I know the laws in the US are not as good either because You can see them on the street all the time. I see on the news like
Mhm.
how they get caught, all these predators with full on proof, and they're
Mhm.
walking 2 years after. That feel like 2 years is not enough.
Yeah.
But in Costa Rica, nothing happens at all. I know
Same in
family,
Haiti. Yeah.
same,
Same in Haiti. Yeah. I mean, I've never heard of anybody being caught in
yes,
Haiti for doing anything like that. I mean, if you know anything about Haiti, that's the last thing people are worried about. They're worried about feeding their kids, feeding themselves, and staying safe. But
that's the
all
same
those
in Costa
things,
Rica.
it's sad.
It's so sad. And I've seen families like with full on proof. I know a lady, her cousin has two kids that are her grandfathers. So she has two walking proofs of incest, and the law does absolutely nothing.
Hmm.
Nothing.
That's wild.
That
And
is what, and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
sad.
it is sad. It is sad because like the thing is, those kids, those people growing up, their lives will never be the same or will never be what they were intended to be because we're all different. Not everybody has the strength or the courage to come out and talk about it. And if you don't talk about it, there's only one thing that happens. You live with it, and living with it does not mean necessarily you have figured out a way to heal from it. And if you're not healed from it, it's gonna keep happening to you, or you're not gonna know how to deal with it when it's happening to your kids or somebody around you because you haven't gotten the healing that you need. You haven't gotten the know-how to deal with it. So if you can't even deal with it on your own, how are you gonna help somebody else who's dealing with it? You know?
I agree. And it also looks like it's very normal, like I'm growing up and my grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
it's my dad.
Mm-hmm.
You're just being born into trauma, and that's just going to keep happening and happening and happening
Yeah.
because it's just so normalized. People are not going to be like, this is wrong. This is
Mm.
just, they're going to think it's the norm.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, um, forgiveness is a huge thing. And again, it goes with my religion. I'm a believer in God. I'm a Christian. So, but forgiveness is essential to, it's almost like you know, the keys of the door to happiness, to just live a new life, to flip the page, to go to the next chapter, right? So for me, forgiveness was huge in that aspect when it came time to move on and get the healing that I needed, right? Along with other very important people in my life. I couldn't move on without forgiving. Because if I didn't do that, it just means that those people, every time the names would come up, or I'm constantly just like carrying this burden of just like rage and anger and
Mhm.
just, you did this to me, you have to pay, you have to, you know. So forgiveness was huge for me. So what about you? Was that something that you struggled with to forgive, or have you, or what role do you think that plays in the grand scheme of just dealing with it?
I don't know. I think it's more complicated than that. Don't think we need to, like, us as survivors, we don't need to be shaming, like, oh, you need to forgive this person that caused you so much trauma to be able to have a happy life. I don't think so.
That's why I said for me. That's why I said
Yeah.
for me. Yeah.
In my case, like, I don't want anything bad to happen to the person that like created this trauma on me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't wish them bad, but I also don't want more children around him.
Oh, for
Like
sure
like
not.
for me,
Yeah.
this is like I don't want this to happen to any more children. And so I want him to get what he deserves in a way where he's
Yeah.
locked up and more children don't go through this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like setting boundaries has helped me a lot with my healing. Speaking out has helped me a lot with my feeling, and just a generalized like feeling of that I don't have to carry any shame. I feel like just moving on from like I didn't do anything wrong, this is not my fault, I was just a child, and realizing that I don't have to carry all this, like luggage on me, thinking
Mm-hmm.
that I did something wrong.
Yeah.
That has helped me a lot with my feeling. I feel like I don't know how you see forgiveness. I don't know if you think like this person is to be forgiven by God. Like I don't
Mm.
know. how do you see it?
Well, allow me to explain. So I think one thing sometimes people get wrong, um, of I mean, you don't have to be a Christian to forgive anybody. I think
Mhm,
as human beings, you can forgive somebody, but forgiveness certainly does not mean forgetting. Forgiveness certainly does not mean that it's not necessarily grace, like as in like you did this, I'm forgiving you, so therefore you don't have to pay for it. You reap what you sow. I also believe in that. The forgiveness for me is more for me than it is for them. And
mhm,
I've talked about that on different TikTok videos because it's almost like if you think about it from this aspect. So if you were to do something to me and you did something wrong to me and now I'm waiting for you to make it right. I can wait and wait and wait. You don't realize that you did anything wrong to me, one, or you don't want to give me that forgiveness, or you just never got around to do it. This whole time, I can be like, you can be a person of just interest. This person needs to do that. This person needs to do that because, like, if they don't do that, then I can't move forward. I can't move on because they owe me this.
mm,
For me, I don't let people hold that so much like
so much
control
power.
over me, so much power. That's what I'm saying. People tend to see forgiveness as if they owe me that. I think you owe it to yourself to forgive people, to move on. Because
Okay.
if you don't do that, and you say like only God's gonna forgive, or like I can't forgive because they did this and that, you're not seeing the other side of the coin. You're looking at one side. They did this to me. They wronged me. They have to do this. They have to do this. But what is that doing to you, to your soul, while you're waiting for that forgiveness,
Yes,
while you're waiting on that person to do this for you? And no, for me, forgiveness is not only spiritual, but it's also the right thing to do for you, not for the person, for you. And it's not forgetting. It's not like, okay, I forgive you now. Now I can let you near my kids again. No, matter of fact, I want people to get the justice they deserve for what you've done.
mhm,
I want you to pay for it because I can forgive you. You keep doing the same thing to other people. You need to be stopped. And if I
exactly.
have the opportunity, I will do it. I will stop you, but I'm forgiving you. I'm not letting you hold any power over me. So
Yeah,
that's
I
why.
love that take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I feel like to be able to move on, you can't carry that around anymore, just being like, "Oh, this person owes me this,
Yep.
they need to
Mm-hmm.
face these consequences for me to be able to
Mm-hmm.
move on." And that's part of reclaiming your power, and that's only
Yes.
what we have.
Mm-hmm.
What we can control. We can
Yep.
control other
Mm-hmm.
people, we can control any outcomes, but we can control our emotions and the way that we see the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's where power resides. So I
Yes.
100% agree on that take. It's just some
Mm-hmm.
people come up like, "Oh, you need to forgive this person and this person like might not do it again." And no, they're going to do it again. They're going to do it over and over and over again.
Yeah. So that's wishful thinking and that's being gullible. A predator, a lion does not forget how to hunt. A
No.
tiger doesn't forget how to hunt. And those people are predators. They like that's what they do.
Mhm.
Like you get the forgiveness for you, but you do what we are doing right now. Raising awareness,
Yes.
make sure those people are not staying hidden under rocks and people know who they are.
Mhm.
That kind of stuff does exist and it's happening every single day. And
Every
the
single day.
way we get past it, the way we have a better future for your daughter, for my daughters and my son too, for me not to worry so much about who's lurking around them, is by talking about it. If we don't do that, these people, they just keep operating in the shadow, keep operating in the dark.
Yes.
That's what they do.
Yes, I agree 100%.
So my other question, so you talked about doing therapy, right? So what kind of therapy do you recommend for people to do in order to, get over or find some sort of.
I think every case is different, so you'll have to find therapy that is adjusted of not only every case, but every person is different and they process trauma differently. So I think like what works for some people might not work for other people. So I think it just depends a lot of the individual.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna be honest with you 100%.
Hmm.
Therapy helped me a lot, but the one thing that helped me immensely was seeking God. God, it doesn't
Amen.
have to be a religious,
Hmm. Hmm.
affiliation. It doesn't have to be Christian. Just you believing that there's a higher power.
Yes.
It's made such a huge change in my life. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's what got me out of the rut of when like I remember everything and I was therapy was just not cutting it, like it was helping, but I needed something else. And that's where everything changed for me when I started just getting closer to God. And I'm not talking about religious or going to church,
Hmm.
just sitting alone, meditating, or in prayer by myself, journaling, like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. It's what made a huge
Hmm.
difference in my life. And it made me the person that I am right now. Otherwise, I would have never, I don't know, survived it mentally. Even just daily tasks became really, really stressful for me. There's little things, especially being a mom, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I'm like 24/7 with my daughter. It's really hard to find some time for myself to process the trauma, but just relying on God, that's what changed completely for me.
That's beautiful. I mean, again, I'm leaving little tidbits here and there because I am working on a book, and a lot of my healing and how I got over it will be in great detail in the book. And for me, I talked about my faith already and forgiveness and all that. I never went to therapy. I'm not discarding therapy. For some people, just like you said, a therapy might be the way to go. You might need that one person that doesn't know who you are at all to confide in them all your deepest and darkest secrets to help you untangle this whole thing in order to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I had a few good friends in my life, but I think prayer really, really helped me
I agree.
getting really close to God and just lift up all those things that I don't like. I wouldn't know the first thing to deal with them. And like I said, the moment I realized that something had happened and it was bad, and my wife had kind of put a name to it, it was just now you have something to deal with. What are you going to do with that? Now it's
Mhm.
like, here, let me put this on your lap and kind of figure out how to deal with it. And nobody can do it for you. That's the thing. So a therapist is going to
Yes.
tell you ways and things to do to kind of move forward and get over it. But at the end of the day, like sometimes people don't realize that it's up to you. It's it sucks. Something that you had something to do with it, but it's not your fault that you are where you are right now. And now it becomes solely your problem to deal with it, right? And
Mhm.
that's just the reality. And so that's something I want survivors and abused victims to
Yeah.
know about. It's sad. It's not fair, but you need to deal with it. You
I
need to
feel
be where the buck stop. You know what I
yes.
mean?
And I feel like these kind of situations also are opportunities to get closer to God. It's to that breaking point where you're doing so terrible mentally in your life and you feel like you're in a hole. That's the moment where it's like the perfect transition, like to become very spiritual and find comfort in God. And it can go either way. Like you can get like still be in the rut and like you can still go to therapy and try to work on it. But I feel like you said, talking about your problems all the time and maybe you
Yeah.
won't even get good advice. I'm not saying like all therapists are biased, but some people are
Mm.
not, they're biased a lot of because of how, in my case, how I say it, like by patriarchy.
Mm.
I feel like that influences a lot of therapists, and sometimes I don't give like the best advice in some
Yeah.
ways. Not saying that I have anything against therapy. I think therapy is
Mhm.
amazing, but I
Yeah.
feel like it depends of the therapist too.
Yeah.
And it can, there's really good therapists, but some of them are not really trained in trauma, and how
Yeah.
to process it. But like I was saying, you can stay in the road, you can be going to therapy, try to process your trauma, be so focused in your problems and in your
Yeah.
trauma. But you can also find the light and Like I said, it doesn't have to be religion. Just trusting that God got you
Yeah.
and be thankful for what you already have.
Yeah.
I feel like, oof, that made such a switch in me because I was focusing a lot on what I didn't have. Like I didn't have a great childhood. I missed a lot of things that I should have experienced as a
Yeah,
child.
yeah, yeah, for
I
sure,
just
for
missed
sure.
out so much, and I could be just focusing on that, but then the switch of like, wow, God is so amazing. My life is actually, like I have so many blessings in my life. Just switching that mentality. Wow, that was incredible for me.
It's again full circle from the beginning. I think I talked about victimhood mentality,
Mhm. Mhm.
and you just got there, right?
Yeah.
You cannot move forward with the victimhood mentality. It
No.
doesn't matter what it is, and that's something that I talk a lot on my channel about that, and a different topic which I'm not going to bring into this, but a victimhood mentality. You cannot. It's almost like you've heard drinking your enemy's poison and hoping to kill them one day.
Mhm.
That saying. So it's like you want to move forward, but you're not you doing everything to move backwards. So if you are a victim, that's already been solidified.
Mhm.
Now you have two options. You stay in it by keep calling yourself a victim. This is what I
Yes.
went through. This is what happened to me. This is why I deserve to feel this way. This is why I deserve to keep smoking weed, smoking crack, doing this drug because of this is what happened to me, because I get to feel that way. I didn't ask for this. It happened to me. Like that's one option.
Mhm.
Or you can just put all this distraction aside and realize that, hey, listen, this is what happened to me. I'm acknowledging it. I'm going to get the help that I need from God, from people around me, good friends, a therapist.
Community. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm going to move forward. There's only two options. You stay in it, keep justifying it, keep playing the victimhood card, or you move forward. You take that, like what happened to you, and you use it as a weapon to not only fight that battle that you're in right now, but also help people to see, like,
Mhm.
hey, listen, I went through it. I was abused, and I'm speaking to you right now. I'm at the other side of the spectrum. You can do the same thing. And so, but you won't do the same thing if you keep thinking that you're such a huge victim. And it's like, you're not the only one who's ever been victimized. You're not the
Mhm.
only one who will be victimized, but you can
No.
do something with it to reduce the risk of other people being victimized. But all that can't happen if you just engulfed in your victimhood
Yes.
mentality, right?
And also that realizing that you have more power than you
Then you
know.
realize.
Yeah, like you went
Mhm.
through this in your childhood. Maybe you didn't have the best experiences. You went through CSA and yes, that happened, but also you have control of your life right now. And you can move forward and you can change your life to be however you want it to be. I feel like
Yeah.
if people realize that, it'll be easier to overcome it.
Yeah, it's like a light bulb,
Mhm.
realize that you, just like you said, you have way more power than you realize. And it
Mhm.
starts by recognizing where you are and establish where you want to get, right?
Mhm.
So I was a victim of this. This is my circle. These are the people who perpetrated it. These are the people that I thought I trusted that it turned out they are the people doing this. I need to remove myself from this situation, remove myself from this circle. That's the first step. And then once you do that, you just keep looking up, finding better people around you, associate yourself with people with the same mindset, people who are like, who see that kind of stuff as an evil that needs to be stopped, and you just keep moving forward. But the idea you're just gonna stay where you are, same society, same circle, same mindset, same victimhood, same blaming type of mindset, it's just, that's the equivalent of being stagnant. And
Mhm. You're gonna be stuck 100%.
yeah, yeah. So what do you wish people to understand better about survivors of CSA who are watching the podcast right now?
Well, that healing is not linear.
Mm-hmm.
That you can be in a really good spot right now moving forward, and then eventually anything can trigger another memory or a feeling. And I want people to know that they're not setbacks, that you might just, go back into old habits and like you said, like back into that
Mm-hmm.
victimhood
Mentality.
mentality. Yes. And that doesn't define your healing process. Like you can
Mhm.
keep moving forward. Like it's not a linear thing. It's something a work in progress. So it's not easy. It's not
Mhm.
easy. In a lot of things might come up later in different
Yeah.
ways, and it's just something that you have to be prepared of. And also, I would like people to know that there's nothing wrong with survivors, or nothing
Yeah.
wrong with going through something like that. People might look at you differently because we're speaking out, and
Yeah.
they might judge you, or they might think like, "Oh, you're probably rotten in a way."
Mhm.
I feel like people knew how many of these cases actually are, they will
Mhm.
change the way that they see survivors.
Yeah.
And yeah, just not be judged
Yeah.
by something that, you might even gone through it and you don't even know.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I couldn't have said it better. And again, from a fellow survivor, like personally, I just don't like even using those words, even though it is true. That's the reality,
Hmm.
personally, because I don't know. It might be the the man aspect of this whole thing, right? I don't. We don't
Like you
like
don't like
to.
the word survivor.
Yeah, because we don't like to be seen as weak, as again, that's something that keeps you in
I
that
feel like
closet
it's
though.
the opposite. Like we
Right.
survived horrible things and we're still here.
Yeah, no, as I'm speaking to you, I'm catching myself, right? So like obviously I'm doing this right now, telling you,
Yeah.
telling the audience that I am a survivor, I am a victim of this, but I'm not staying in it, and those are the steps that I've taken, and this is why I'm doing it. But it's
Hmm.
just I'm always so cautious to being seen as that person. I want to be seen as this, or why this guy went through this. This is what he is. I'm not only seeing a survivor, I'm seeing a fighter. So that would be my, to go along with everything that you just said, my advice to anybody: don't worry about being labeled. Don't worry about being ostracized. Don't worry about being, I don't know, the odd one out. And guys, don't worry about what I just said. Just, it's not weakness. It's not weakness. Matter of fact, it's the opposite of that.
The opposite.
Coming out as a man, as men, and telling people this is what went down, and
Hmm.
this is how you should be alarmed and be on the guard, be vigilant of what's out there, so that other people don't have to go through it. Because at the end of the day, it happened to you. It just, if you believe it just stays there, you are making the biggest mistake. It just doesn't, because while it happened to you, if you don't cut that generational kind of habit, it's just going to keep happening to more and more and more people. And there are a lot more people who are dealing with it than you realize. So that's why we do this. Please tell everybody where they can find you on TikTok and everywhere else, because
Yeah.
I truly believe in what you're doing and the
I also
message. Yep.
want to add something else to that
Yes, please,
last
please.
question. I also want, especially parents, to know about CSA, that it doesn't have to happen in a room with locked doors in the middle of the night. It can
Mhm.
happen in the most mundane scenarios where you're not even thinking about it, but they have this mentality, like predators have mentality of predators. So they will do it in the most, little things, even in family gatherings where everyone is like watching but not really watching. It can happen with full on sun, all light out, in the, outside with there's so many people. It can happen anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
So just don't think, oh, because I'm watching my kids at night, I know where they are. Like you just don't, you need to be more aware of how, of the extent of this and the extent that they will go to cause this trauma on children.
Yes. Yes. Well said. Now, please tell everybody where they can find you, because I want people to keep
Yeah.
watching you, keep listening to you, because your courage is very, very admirable. And I
Thank you.
think,
It's always yours.
again, appreciate it. People, again, I feel like I'm doing the bare minimum, and people don't need to be doing what we're doing. Again, it's a small thing. Like
Hmm.
it's a little ripple. It's a little ripple effect that, you drop that little, you know, drop of whatever water here, and watch what it does. So,
Yeah.
but the main thing, you don't just not do anything. Like if there's anything you should get out of this, and just don't just be stagnant. Stagnant is this, it's is the same thing as moving backwards. You're not progressing, you are indeed regressing. So do something. Ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
Ask the question. Like, that's the easiest way to start. Just let somebody know that you are there for them. Let somebody know that, hey, listen, whatever it is, I'm here for you. You can confide it in me, and I promise you, we'll stay right there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're dealing with something, or if you're not, that's fine. But if you are, somebody, like, I'm making myself available. Be somebody's therapist. That's the best way to go about it. So
I agree. And also, if you know that there's one of these predators in your family, and you might be scared, or you might be just not in the position to tell it to the world, I feel like at least tell parents of other little children, do not bring your children here because this person might cause this. I feel like bringing that awareness too can save a lot of children's lives because I've seen that happen. Predators being around children all the time and no one says anything. We have to start putting children first.
100% agreed.
Yeah. So you guys can find me on TikTok. I only have TikTok and Instagram. My TikTok is Fiorela. Maybe you can link the
I will. Yeah,
surname. Yeah.
I will do that.
And I'm on Instagram as well. I'm more active on TikTok. But yeah, I'm on Instagram as well as Fiorella. I actually had a podcast too, but I haven't been doing it, just too busy as a mom. But hopefully,
Takes
yeah,
time.
yeah, keep going. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'd
thank you
love to
for
come
this
on your
talk.
podcast too.
Yes, I would love to have you on my podcast as well and give your perspective.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And thank you for everything that you do as well, bringing awareness to this subject, especially as a male. I know it's not easy. Well, I don't know, but I know how
You're right.
the turkey, yeah,
Yes.
has conditioned men.
Yeah.
So you are breaking the scheme in so many ways. So thank you, and really appreciate all the work you do.
God bless you. I appreciate it.
And
Everybody, please go check her out. She has a lot of insightful things to say. She is courageous. You will not be disappointed. And thanks again for watching the channel. I
thank you.
appreciate it. And if you want to help us, if you want to help me, again, share the word. That's the best thing that you can do. Subscribe, and I'm going to try to keep bringing more and more people and share the stories. And every once in a while, I'll be reacting to something else. You never know. So I'm just trying to make the world a better place than the way I found it. I don't think
Yes,
that's too much to ask. So
for
thank
future
you, everybody.
generations.
What's that?
For future generations.
Yes, I have 4 kids, so that's my job
Yeah.
to try to make this whole thing a little bit brighter, less grim than it is now. So I think
It's
we can all
amazing.
do a little bit of that. So have a good one, everybody. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Hey, yeah, you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Like, subscribe, and share it. Help me spread the word.